The red light sign. There it is. Good evening. What?
It's changing.
Yeah. I
The letter came just today.
there was no letter.
Okay.
No.
This is
That was from last.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We can do it.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that, but that's, we can do that. Fine.
Just sit on. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's.
For any of those,
Yep.
and then
Yeah, that's true.
it's me from it.
Mhm.
It works, if it don't.
I don't like this setup, though.
No, because we're in the office.
Yeah. Not at all comfortable, but anything.
Not really. Working, but it's. Oh, after the annual meeting.
The fire truck.
It would work.
With the.
It is. I said, if I were doing it again, that's. Oh, no, but only that one at the end of the meeting. On the beach.
Swing one, so it ripped it off. Swings. So.
And some of us, you know, we're just.
And that's so, yeah, so me as well.
Yeah.
It's so much body language. You might as well hold up signs.
Yeah.
What did he just like
That's
go
what
here
I'm-
and then? Pop flash, wasn't.
No.
That's not a good poker face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's.
All right. Call our meeting order.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What's for approval of the minutes from last meeting?
The only thing I saw that we might want to change is put Maple Drive instead of Flynn. Or the big culvert repair.
Oh, okay.
I've read through them and I would make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I can second that.
We have a motion from Nathan, a second from Gary. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes. Take a look at the vouchers.
Anything outstanding, Tiffany? As far as bills and. No.
Pretty basic.
It's nice to see the park stuff.
Approval of the vouchers.
I'll make the motion, accept the payroll and bills in the amount of $118,862.60.
A motion from Logan. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second from Ruth. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. No correspondence. Do we have anybody sign up to speak tonight? Hey. Go ahead, sir. Oh. You're the only one. Will I come up here? Sure. Oh.
Hello, my name is Jim Kukless. I'm the real estate developer for Riverbend. Probably heard a lot about Riverbend. It's been a long process. Started about 3 years ago. And just recently, we have completed all the necessary work for plat approval. With the exception of some problems with some leakage, water leakage in the manholes, sewer manholes. But I've been working with your township engineer, and this is something that my contractor will be responsible for. If he doesn't do it in a timely fashion, I'll make sure it gets done. But Nathan assures me that it can be done during the warranty period so that it won't hold up the plat approval. I'm here tonight, to appeal to the board how important it is to have the developer's agreement with the township finalized. I have incurred tremendous costs every month for the cost to build and develop Riverbend. I've done a lot of developments, Hermantown, Cloquet, Twin Lakes Township, and I've never done one by a river before. I don't know if I'll ever do it again. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of agencies involved. And so we'll say that with the help of your township engineer, we've overcome those problems. And he was very good to work with, and he worked with my engineer to solve problems. Now is the time of the year for me to be selling lots. I have had a lot sold 2 years ago. And I took a reservation fee on it with the idea that when the plat was approved, then we could close on the sale. I have another person that's interested in buying right now, but they won't buy until the plat's approved. I've been in communication with one of your board members, just asking him questions and seeing if he could find out information for me, because I have not been privy to it. And that's been Gary Bonneville. Has been very helpful in talking with Dan Stengel and getting some information to me to make sure that the process for the plat is being organized, and I have to trust that Dan Stengel will have that organized and ready to go as soon as possible. I'm more concerned about the developers agreement. It was the last board meeting that Mr. Pritchett was still here, that he told me that we'll get that developers agreement completed next week. And of course, next week never came because he was gone. So I'm appealing to the board to do whatever you can to have your new attorney move forward with and know the importance of getting this developers agreement approved. We've been on this for a long time. And the final developers agreement was produced 6 months ago, along with the covenants and restrictions. And it's right there. It's gonna take another half hour when we were in the meeting to finalize it. But it isn't done with that. It's your new attorney to contact me or me to contact them or you to get a hold of them. I don't need that to be a holdup when we go to final plat.
Jim, he is on camera right now, our new attorney, Mike. Right there.
Hello. So if I may, I've been in touch with Dan about this. Dan sent me the draft of the developers agreement. I've got a little bit of the material on the plat itself. I understand the final plat came to the city maybe 2 weeks ago. Typically, we approve the developers agreement and the final plat at the same time. I've requested more information from Dan just today. In fact, before this meeting, we were talking about this very development. I will be getting a complete developers agreement out. At the earliest, it's going to be sometime next week. I will also have to talk with the engineer. A lot of the way we process plats and developers agreements, we typically use very much a team approach where we work with Dan in this case, with the engineer. We want to make sure that everything is done and is ready to be accepted. I generally am not one who thinks that if it's not installed right, we're going to pick that up on the warranty side of it, unless our engineer is comfortable with that. I have not heard yet from the engineer. We'll have to see what the engineer says. I understand that a lot of this was installed without any engineering supervision on the township's part. For every one of our clients, that is never the case. We always have our township engineer out there inspecting it. So I think we will be in touch with, I'll be in touch with our engineer, and I need to find out what does he know about how the installation was done of everything from the ponds to the sewer to the road base. Maybe he's going to be able to have ways to test that. I don't know. But we're not going to be able to finalize anything until the engineer is ready to sign off on it. I can get the developers agreement ready, but everyone's going to have to come together all at once and ultimately give the green light to the town board that we as the consultants for the township are comfortable with what's out there and recommend approval to the town board. At this point, I just got the developers agreement. I haven't yet talked to the engineer. Dan and I talked about this for the first time really today. So I'm going to ask for your patience a little bit for me to get up to speed on it. I will get you a version of the developers agreement. The earliest you would see it would be next week. Typically that final plat takes 30 to 60 days to approve. Again, depending on how it's submitted. So I'm hoping we're certainly going to be within that 60-day time frame. I don't know if I can bring it in within the 30. I will have you a copy of the developers agreement to look at. And then you're going to want, I would expect, to get comments back to me. I don't know how long that process will take. I don't know that we would have it for the next town board meeting. If not, I would expect it would be the one after that. So it's in process, but just very recently.
So I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. Nathan, are you on board with that? Are you taking everything that Nathan's inspected and worked with us on, and you're gonna redo it again with your own engineer?
So I'm not sure, is Nathan the township's engineer?
Yes, he
Yes, he is.
Okay, I've not talked with him yet. No, what I want to do is make sure that our engineer is comfortable that everything has been installed according to our specifications. That normally happens when our engineer is out there inspecting it. I understand that this installation went in without our engineer on site. And that's what,
There, he's referring to Nate, the township engineer, when he says our
yes,
engineer.
township
Just not-
engineer. Yes,
Okay.
township engineer. So the
The-
township engineer is going to have to basically tell the township, make a recommendation to the township that either it's installed properly, it's not installed properly, or he doesn't know if it's installed properly. I haven't had a chance to talk with him yet. But
So-
that is going to be a prerequisite of any acceptance of the township.
As a
We've got to know
developer.
what's installed.
As a developer, I've already been paying, will be paying for the first township engineer that was involved. And now we have a second township engineer involved. And the as-bills have been submitted to Dan Stengel, which is about 5 inches thick, on all the history and all the work and the engineering that went into building Trails Edge to the point that it's at. Has anybody looked at that? Do you have it?
I have not seen that, but I, again, just saw the developers agreement within the last 2 days. I have not talked with our current engineer. I would expect our current engineer will communicate with our past engineer, township's past engineer, and get the records from that engineer. But as I hate to say it, but when a project takes 3 years, sometimes consultants change. In this case, it's been both the engineer and the attorney. I don't expect we're gonna not talk with the prior people. We definitely want to do that. But we who are myself, I can speak for myself as a current attorney, I would expect the current engineer is going to want to make sure that everything has been done properly before we make a recommendation to the town board to approve it. And
Okay,
that's
so
going
when
to
will
take a
you
little bit
meet
of
with,
time.
with the township engineer?
I'm sorry, what was that?
So then when can you meet with the township engineer?
So Dan is going to send me his contact information. I don't know if he's in the office tomorrow. I will be. I expect I'll call him tomorrow, and we will, between the two of us, try and figure out what additional information may be needed, what information we're good with. But again, I'm brand new to this. I don't know. I know he is new. I'm not sure how new to it, but both of us have to get our hands around this in order to be able to make a sound recommendation to the town board.
So Mike, Nathan, our town engineer, is here with us at the meeting. And I think Nathan, you will contact him tomorrow or early next week.
Yep, I'll be around tomorrow. Mike,
Okay.
if you want to give me a call.
Good, I certainly will.
So there we go. We'll
Okay,
move forward.
thank you.
Yep, you bet. All right, Mike, well, we got you on the line here. We're gonna move into old business, which is our tequila town liquor license renewal. And
Yes.
I know that Ruth had a question, right, for
Right,
the
and,
attorney? Yeah.
and Mike's gonna give us an explanation as to why I tabled it from our last meeting to come tonight. So take it away, Mike.
Thank you, Ruth. So the conditions, there's 10 conditions on this, or 10 recommended conditions on this permit. I think these are the same conditions that were on last year. As I explained to Ruth, I've got a problem with the first condition. I don't believe, so I've looked in the liquor statutes. I'm fairly familiar with them. I checked them again. We do not have the authority to regulate the name of the business. I've got some concerns about the township requiring that the name either contain or not contain certain language. That is for the owner of the business to decide, not for the township. I don't believe we've got the authority to do so. My recommendation would be number one, which restricts the name, prohibits a name from referring to an intoxicating beverage or drink, which is the tequila part of the name, that the township strike number one out. If the owner wants to call it the tequila, and I don't remember what it's called, Tequila Restaurant, not quite sure of the name, but
Tequila.
he's got the right to do so.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Yep.
So with that being said, I would look for a motion to go ahead with the liquor license renewal, omitting number one on the list of conditions.
Did I already have a motion on the table
No,
from
No,
two meetings
I don't
ago?
think so.
Okay, all right, then I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Well, a motion from Logan, a second from Nathan. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Next, old business, fire apparatus repair. Kyle, you want to touch on that?
Yep, I sent an estimate from Jeff Foster, who, the only one that I could find around here that does commercial apparatus repairs, and his bid came in at $12,294.25 plus the decals. I am going to try and get a hold of Missy or Melissa tomorrow at Arrowhead Insurance Agency to give her the estimate for the repair of that truck. Information more than repair. Any questions?
I have some requests for some updates on old business. I said, I have some requests on old business. I'd like some updates that I'm not aware of right now.
Okay, on what's that?
We had some quotes for revamping the office. We got one quote. I'm wondering if we got any more quotes for redoing the office space.
We just got one and we're gonna put it on the agenda for next meeting.
Perfect. And what's the status of, we put an ad for an office assistant? What's the status
I
there?
haven't actually put the ad yet. I was still waiting to hear back from the union rep and he hasn't gotten back to me yet.
Okay. And then on that, with Irene being out a little longer than anticipated at the recycling shed, I'm just curious as to, what we're doing to fill in for her. And if we need a union person in that position or what it was that had been decided.
Is she out longer? I guess I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Okay. How long is she anticipated to be out?
I don't know exactly, but they said that she'll be in a cast for a couple months,
Oh,
8
okay,
weeks probably.
okay.
So I was just curious as to, I heard there was a plan, but I don't know what that was. I hadn't heard the plan itself.
Yeah, I got some young people to fill in, and they're out there now. But I guess if it's gonna be longer term, I don't know if we wanna look more into that.
I think that'd be a good question for the union members, which we only have one here. Are we okay with just having a couple?
For right now, yeah, if it's gonna be longer, but she hasn't officially told anyone in the office, so.
No,
Maybe she plans on doing it in a cast.
Yeah, if she's gonna be longer, then we'll have to reach out to the rep and see what he wants to
Okay.
do, if it's gonna.
Well, let's touch base with her first and see what she's actually thinking.
right. But my question is, are we just using volunteers? Are we paying these volunteers? And have we gotten approval through the union representative? That's my questions.
No, we didn't go through the union with it because we were just filling in for a couple shifts. Yeah, we didn't feel that it was worth, by the time we would have went through the whole hiring process, we figured it was gonna be over with, so we just filled it with a couple youngsters and.
Are we not in a position that if it's gonna be that long of a absence, 8 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks? is that what you're saying?
Possibly. It's a rotator cuff recovery.
We don't have to keep the business open, do we? We can just.
Well, we don't have to man it. We could just open it.
Correct. open it and close.
Yeah.
Many of the recycle sheds do that already. They just open it, people bring their stuff, and then somebody will lock it up again. You know, so, I mean, that's doable as well.
Right.
So, yeah, I just wanted to know if there was some confirmed plan for what was going on, because I was,
Yeah, if it's gonna be that long, we're probably gonna have to do something, but let's touch base with her first and
Okay.
find out what her plan is.
one last thing, on old business updates is, what are we gonna do this year as far as lawn care? Are we expecting the road crew to do the lawn care again this year, or are we hiring a part-time lawn care, somebody that's just gonna mow the lawns? I know we haven't discussed it, but I'm just, you know, cost wise, are we gonna hire somebody part-time, or are we gonna do road crew do?
Has Josh said anything to you about it? I know they've been just doing it. I don't know if that was their plan to do it all summer or not. I guess I probably have to touch base with Josh on that.
Yeah, the other question would be, did something that the maintenance janitor person can do?
No,
I don't think he was interested.
he's not the least bit interested in it. We've already talked to him about that.
We wouldn't want to give him that many hours anyway.
No,
Yeah. And he'd probably want to do it in the middle of the night.
right, because, yeah, Gary and I already touched base with,
Yeah.
that person, and he said, no, not interested.
This is not the time of year to start getting quotes for lawn care.
Yeah. Let's touch base with, Josh and see if they can continue doing it. Otherwise, maybe we can find a kid again.
That would cost us a lot less
Right.
than road crew, unionized road crew.
Check on that. All right.
You want to put that on the agenda for next meeting?
Yeah, let's do that.
Then we can circle back if we are gonna hire a seasonal.
Yeah. I don't know if the kid I have at school would be looking for more hours or not. Like, maybe though. Been doing a pretty good job, so.
And I've got a young man too that I can
Oh,
ask
yeah.
if he's interested.
Okay.
So
Well-
if we're gonna go that route, I've got a couple contacts that I
Okay.
can make as well. If I have got the approval to get a part-time person in here. I know it's costing a lot more to do the road crew, but
Yeah.
Maybe just a contractor, we wouldn't be paying him as an employee, just a contract.
No, well, they'd be a seasonal employee. We've had seasonal employees before.
we could do both. Depending on the cost.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we got quotes for a contractor to do it was,
It was high.
it was
Was
very
about
high.
4 years ago.
Right, and it was high.
Yeah. it'd be
Yeah.
double.
And, you know, this time of year, I mean, granted, we were in early fall, I think, when we got that quote, so again, not the best time to start getting quotes,
But
but,
it's indicative of what you can expect.
right. So I think the seasonal route would be advantageous to explore. The nice thing about that too is past seasonal employees that we've had have also done light maintenance, a little bit more than just grass cutting. So
Yeah, one of them.
All right, well, we'll move on to new business. Potential GPA for aerial apparatus. We had a letter in your packet from the Cloquet Area Fire District. I don't know if Nathan or Kyle, who wants to talk about the potential GPA?
Well, this letter is for a potential joint powers agreement between the city of Carlton, Thomson Township, and the Cloquet Area Fire District for shared ownership of just an aerial apparatus. Kyle and I had a conversation yesterday, and he has since talked with Chief Hughes, and I brought it up at our fire district meeting last night, but it sounds like we might want to push in a bit of a different direction than what this is proposing, and if Kyle wants to
Sure,
explain that,
so if you don't mind,
I think you'd be better at it than me.
not a problem. So we received that joint powers agreement from the city of Cloquet after they found out that we were going to be ordering an aerial. I've had conversations with Chief Wolf and Chief Hughes. Wolf has they don't have to do anything for another 14 more years, so they have no desire to get into a JPA with Cloquet Area Fire District at this time, from my understanding. That is not from his board, that is from him at this point, saying his truck is gonna last longer. I brought up a proposal to Jesse, about, saving them money, because they're looking at a new tower at about $2.5 million. I suggested that maybe they come sit down with us, and we can make some adjustments to the truck that we're ordering, and we can save them $1.7 million by not buying a tower and sharing our quint, and writing a JPA to that, and then having them pay for half of our truck, which would save us $850,000-ish, $900,000. Don't quote me on the numbers because I haven't sat down with their committee, but I sat in 2 meetings this week with Jesse, and he said he was gonna bring that back to his battalion chiefs. He also thought $2.5 million on a tower was excessive. But I'm not exactly sure that his department would look at that. This would be a truck that would be housed in Esko. This would be Esko's truck. We would, the proposal that I suggested to him is we can send that truck to him on a box alarm or any given type of call alarm that they would want. And we would send the truck and share the truck with him if they paid, or at least in my opinion, half of that apparatus. So that could save us money if they are willing to do that. With his JPA, he talks about shared services. I don't know why they would not. That would save Cloquet Fire District $1.7 million. So that was a proposal that I gave to them. And that would save Thomson Township $800,000 roughly. So that was a proposal. I did talk to McQueen today. We do have a contract in place that is ready to be signed. We can make changes upwards from 6 to 10 months where we can still go through and meet with Cloquet. I don't know if you want to bring that up to their board again, that we'd be more than happy to entertain it. But that would be a truck that will be in Esko. That will not be in Cloquet. That will be in our garage.
Mike, you've read the joint powers of agreement. Do you have an opinion for us on this?
Somewhat. It's not so much of a legal one. I think it's more of a practical one. The legal part of it would be this really is not a joint powers agreement. It's more of an invitation to sit down and talk about it. You would ultimately arrive at a joint powers agreement that would indicate who owns it, how the costs are split, how it's maintained, when it goes on what fires, etc. The practical side of this is what down in our area, we're at what northwest area of the metro. 3 of our fire departments just approved a $135,000 study to see how they might combine everything from sharing equipment to actually combining departments, kind of a long-term study. Where do we want to be 10 or 15 years from now? I've got another couple of communities, not mine, but actually one that I live in. Their fire department combined with 2 others about 2 years ago. There's an increasing talk because of the cost of equipment of working together with neighboring fire departments. I think it is by far something you would want to at least explore. With the ideas that your chief are mentioning tonight of working with Cloquet to figure out, can we go in on a joint truck, makes a lot of sense and is what I've been hearing a lot down here. It can be done legally. It would be some version of a joint powers agreement or some other type of agreement like that. But there's plenty of legal ways to get it done. It's just a question of, can the logistics of it and the finances be worked out? And to me, it makes sense just from a practical perspective.
Thanks, Mike. Any other questions? Any questions for Kyle? All right, let's just keep talking with.
I do have a question. So the authorization that we gave 2 meetings ago for you to secure a price. That's done? Or
It is not done, but it is what the contract I just received today. I have to review it. It needs to be signed within 30 days, but changes can be made for upwards of 6 months to, I don't want to say a year, but he said 6 months to 10 months. So that'd give us plenty enough time. We can still sign this contract for what we already wanted. And then if Cloquet does climb on board, because we need to secure our lock-in price and our place in line. So my opinion is to still sign it, but I was assured 100% by the salesman today that McQueen would have no problems selling us a more expensive truck if we made those adjustments to accommodate what Cloquet needs. Because Cloquet would want something a little different than what we have. And we can make some minor adjustments to get close to what they would want and a compromise, in my ever, to be humble opinion. Now that, I'm not speaking for Cloquet or Fire District, they might want something completely different. But with the conversation that I had with Jesse, I think there's a lot of commonality of changing this truck from a 75-foot to 107, which would be closer to what their tower is. That adds $100,000 on our end. It's not a big change. And then if we're splitting the costs, it makes total sense to do those changes anyway.
So signing the agreement, locking in on what? A price? But the price could
current
adjust,
price that we spec'd out,
but that price could adjust.
We can.
not
make
for
changes.
us.
Okay,
If Cloquet decides to join in, if we can have these
Any
conversations and meetings and sit down and work to change this truck to make it more accommodating for both of us. So
Okay.
it's not just Esko's truck. I would assume, if I were Cloquet, I would want a lot of input.
okay,
And I have no problem sitting down and going through the time to do the input and make those changes so that we can adjust it. At that time, what we would do is cancel our current contract, re-sign a new one.
thank you.
Yep.
That was helpful.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes,
I'm hearing that we've got a price. What's going off in my head is, are we complying with competitive bidding law? Typically, when we're buying any equipment over 175,000, we either have to competitively bid it, which means spec it out entirely. It doesn't sound like we're at that stage yet. Or we would have to buy it from either the state bid list, in which case we wouldn't have
This is
to.
the state bid list, which is Sourcewell.
Perfect. Source, that
and
was
it is
the other one.
it's under 160,000 and it is state
It's
bid.
not under 160,000,
it's-
but it is Sourcewell.
I wish it was
Yes.
For
under
the state of
160.
Minnesota fire.
Very good. Sourcewell does comply with the law. Buying it from Sourcewell meets the competitive bidding law. That's what I wanted to make sure you were doing, one of those options. So
Yep.
that works. Very good.
Any other questions?
No.
All right, moving on to new business, HR proposal.
Who and how did this come about?
Well, I believe this is something that's been in talks since before I got here, looking for an HR firm to represent the township. So Leah sent out some requests for proposals. This is the only one we actually got back. She did hear from one other that was not interested in providing a proposal. And we didn't hear from the other, so.
Well, because I don't remember, as a board, making a motion to put out for a proposal for an HR.
We did.
And
Yeah, we did.
We did
when? How long ago?
last month. Oh,
It's been a while.
last fall.
So then, things have changed quite a bit in the last couple of years, and I'm wondering, is the expense that they're asking us to provide if we use the service, is it necessary? Is it worth it? In what way, Leah?
It's,
We don't have personnel book put together, a handbook. Our job descriptions aren't there. They would help us with all the hiring. They would help us with all of the onboarding materials. They would help us with everything. They would even do grievance. They would handle all of our
Policies, procedures.
everything. Policies, procedures. They'll get us where we should be.
I did reach out to 5 different companies on HR services
Uh-huh.
a few months ago. Well, maybe 6 months ago now. This is a very attractive price and it's a wonderful proposal.
And looking at their client list, they've
Yeah, City of Hermantown, I mean,
Right, I mean,
there's
they're
some
well
really
versed.
good things in there. I would be all for this, however, it is expensive, and I do think that it's gonna probably have to wait and be in our plan, be in our budget. You know, this is something we're gonna have to budget for.
Right.
For Because it's not just a couple hours here and there for $225. This is gonna take them some time, but it's all stuff that we need. I agree, 100%. We need handbooks, we need job descriptions, we need somebody to do discipline when somebody needs discipline. We need this.
Right. Well, one of the things that is in the works, has been since prior to putting together our union contract for the office personnel, is there is a person, it's not complete, a draft, and I believe I sent it to you, and, Freiberger has it. But as far as, what is it? Updating the personnel files and stuff like that. We do have it. It does need to be updated because of all the legal, or all the, what? Time off changes and all that, that has to be updated. So there is something already in draft form on that
Right.
that can be
And
completed.
that's what they would take and they would do that.
Right, but I'm also thinking that I'd like to listen to, see what Mike has to offer as far as their services on all those things that Leah just previously mentioned. Because if we've already hired them as our company to work with, possibly they have a lot of this in boilerplate that suits townships, unlike what we're looking at here. So I want, maybe Mike, if you can enlighten us, and if I'm in the wrong lane, let me know that too.
Sure, no problem. So we do have personnel policies. In fact, we've done them within the last year and a half for maybe as many as a dozen clients. I couldn't give you the exact number, but much of what you were talking about, Ruth, is the reason why those new changes to the ESST law and the Minnesota Paid Family Leave Act. There's things that have to be in your personnel policy. There's decisions you as a board have to make. Those have to be reflected in the personnel policy. That's caused a number of our clients to redo theirs. We've done them for both cities and towns. We would take one of those as kind of our base and then modify it to how you would want to do it. Our associate in our office has done almost all of them. He's kind of the expert in our office. I would have to get an estimate from him. I haven't done that. I would probably want to see your draft first, and then I think we'd be able to shoot you an estimate of what it would cost. But we would want to take either your draft or ours and end up working with that. If we use your draft, we'd cross it against ours to make sure everything that we want in there is in yours, put it in there. And I'm assuming that's what anyone would do. Whoever you're going to get, they're going to do something like that. We're not going to start from scratch. But we should be able to get you an estimate. I just don't have that without knowing what your current draft looks like and what we would, I'd run that by Mark and have him give us a cost.
But Mike, now that would be just personnel policy, right? Like you don't actually do HR work and union contract negotiations and all that part, right?
We have done limited union contract negotiations in the past. Not something we've done a lot of, I think, as I told you in the interview. In terms of, things like job descriptions, we typically don't write those. We may review those, but we're not in a position to know what you guys want done. That's done typically in-house or by a consultant with a lot of discussion from you guys. Somebody on the board is either going to need to work with them or maybe someone on your staff to figure out this is the job we want. These are the duties we want done. You would ultimately approve those, but those are usually done more at your own staff level. We typically don't do those. Grievances and employee matters, we have done those before. Certainly, if you're going to do any employee discipline, we would be involved in that to make sure whatever you're doing is legal. And that might be with or without someone like Tersh. Contract administration, if you've got union contracts, we've got, again, limited experience, not a lot of experience in those. We could do those. We may also want to refer those out to a specialist who does more of that. So we do some of what this job is, not everything that they do. Again, reviewing job descriptions, we would only review it. We would not write them. Employee handbooks, we definitely do those. HR review, generally, we would not come in and review your personnel files. Your policies would be, those would come into your personnel policy itself. So yes, we would do those. We would do some of what is there, not everything. We would not do the nuts and bolts of how do you keep your files? That sort of stuff. That's usually done on a staff level, not the attorney. It's not a good use of our time is really what that
Yeah.
comes to.
Right. Okay, Mike, we'll get you the draft of that handbook so you can
Okay.
take a look at that and compare it to what you've done for others. And I think that when we start looking at our levy and putting together our budget, I think we need to include a number for HR. I mean, that was one of the things that the public said at our town meeting was that they want an HR service.
At the end of the meeting.
Yeah.
It did
Yeah.
come up twice.
Yep. Any other points or questions about HR proposal? Very good. We'll move on to personnel reports. Leah.
Almost got all the letters to get mailed out. Hopefully Monday they'll go out regarding the
Gloves.
latex gloves in the sewer line. So I just gotta stop them and get them out. I got a letter to go out to the last person who had a interconnected line over off Randall Avenue. That will be going out as well. I think that's all I've been working on.
All right. Kyle, you got anything else?
I do. I have a statewide fire assessment survey that the state has sent out that I'm gonna try and get done. They have a short window on it by June 30th. And they wanna know age of apparatus stations, personnel numbers and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna try and see if I can sit down and do that before the 30th. And then I have not found anybody to do the stucco on the front of the fire station to repair that. So if anybody knows of somebody, please send me a phone number, email contact, something around those lines. Cause I reached out to a contractor and he thought maybe he may be interested in it. And then he has not gotten back to me and I've sent several times. If somebody knows somebody, please send them to me.
Got a stucco guy?
I think that's right up Logan's alley. You should be able to figure out. YouTube it.
I avoid stucco.
Everybody keeps telling you that to stop it.
Anything else, Kyle?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, Josh would usually be sitting right back there and he is at a sewer tap right now. He'd like to report that the road crew is currently graveling roads, getting ready for chloride. Chloride scheduled for July 6th with May River. I've been working with the Bullock team on bridge and guardrail updating and 36 Maple Drive drainage culvert. Overseeing lots of lateral repairs and lots of sewer lateral reviews these past 2 weeks. So with that, I think, Nathan, you can probably cover anything else
Yeah,
or answer any questions.
yeah. No, I've been working with Josh quite a bit here. So one of the things is I gave a list of potential roads for paving next year after the last board meeting. So, but we weren't here, so I'll get you the list. But shouldn't be any surprises on it. We did the cost estimating on those. Yeah, it's just so that the board can start looking at, how much of that we want to be able to bite off. So I think that my next step would be obviously meet with you, Logan, get the thumbs up, and then probably I'd envision working with Tiffany on, and maybe like a David Trower and Associates, like Mike Bubani that came in for that loan that, or the bond that the township got on Randall last year. It'd be a similar situation like that where they could guide you through what a bond would look like. So if that seems reasonable, I think that'd be the way to take it from here to getting something done.
That project that we just got funding or the bonding that we got.
State bonding?
Yeah, state bonding. Is that tied to a specific project?
No, that was written all very flexible to cover water, sewer, storm, to fix the township needs. But that can only cover costs after a grant agreement would be put in place. So it would, whenever the grant agreement comes, we'll have to wait till then to be able to use it. You can't go back and, pay yourself back for past costs or anything.
And what's the expiration of that usually?
Say they,
Of the grant, is there an expiration that we have to have a project lined up, ready to roll?
it's like 5 years, you've got a long time to be able to use it. 'Cause this will be something that you use to stack it ideally with some other funding and try and do something big. I mean, one of the idea at the time was to do like the I-35 crossing, which would be something the township probably wouldn't be able to do without grants. So, that was one of the projects it was originally tied to. Been working with Jim and his engineer on Riverbend. The stormwater ponds are in much better shape now. They worked through MPCA and gotten a good design. But when we were out smoke testing, I think I mentioned it last time, there was some leaks in the manhole. So I've been working with Jim to, so his contractor can fix that. I've gone back through all the old files from Josh, so I know what testing has been done. And we got a as-built packet from Warren, his engineer. So Lindsay actually just finished looking at the digital files that were submitted and the physical files and making sure everything was in digital form so that we can see all the as-built. So I'm still working on being able to review the things I haven't been able to see have been on the road side of things, like, any geotechnical testing or just verification of depth of aggregates. So, so we're still working on that, but pretty actively. Been working with Josh on the sewer connections. There's a couple, or one, get to learn about pipe bursting today. He's pretty excited about that, where they pull a pipe through an existing pipe. So he got to see it for the first time. We'll be reaching out to you, Logan, on MS4 stuff. You get to pick what the township wants to focus on.
Exciting.
Yeah, and then the other part of that is we need to align the township's ordinances, stormwater ordinances with the MPCA. So I've got on my team a planner. My hope was just to send the township's current stormwater ordinance and they could work with the MPCA's ordinance and make sure everything's in line, and then be able to work with Mike to get it in a final form for adoption, if that seems like a good plan.
Did you hear that, Mike?
I did. Yep, that sounds fine.
Okay. And then, yeah, I mentioned Randall Avenue. They're doing their final cleanups here and we're working on our final quantity. So.
Where's getting pipe bursted?
37 Highway 61. It's the second house in off of Kinnanen to the east, across from the school.
Okay.
So I believe their sewer service goes under their garage. So
Great.
like everybody's sewer service is in there.
Why-
And main.
Yes.
All right, anything else?
That's it.
All right. Well, Jerry, I know you gave us a nice long report last time, school's out. Is there anything to report?
It is, but school never stops at Esko Public Schools. Even though it's the middle of summer, we're still pointing our target toward the day after Labor Day. And we had 2 retirees this year. Well, actually, a few positions to fill. I'd like to report that we do have a new high school principal, Brian Wickenheiser, who had been a 6th grade teacher at Esko School for many years, moved over to Proctor to work on curriculum for them. And we decided to hire him back as our new high school principal. So he's already been shadowing our new superintendent, Greg Hexum, and learning exactly what the job is going to be. I think he'll be a wonderful fit for Esko again. The other person that we interviewed for hire has also been hired like 1 week after we interviewed. So we had 2 great candidates. We had a hard time picking between the 2, but I think we're doing well. We had 2 retirements. Gary Boudreau, who was in the math department at Esko, And then Corey Gray, who did our business, both retired, and we are posting that until filled, and we've got some really good candidates for that as well. The only other hire then would be our administrative assistant that will be retiring just shortly after the school year begins. So we're working on those interviews as well. So just, that's it for the school. Just wondered if it would be a possibility to maybe give Mike a quick call. I just had a couple questions for him, if I could get his phone number with his permission. Just like to chat, just on a couple things.
You okay
I
talking
would-
to our school board, Mike?
Absolutely. If you'd like me to, I don't have any problem at all.
Okay,
Okay, perfect. Thanks. I'll get that after the meeting. Appreciate it.
all right, we'll move on to reports from board members. Nathan?
Been out of town for about the last month, so I came in for this meeting, met with the fire district board last night virtually. Nothing super notable, other than I brought up the potential JPA and some of the ideas that Kyle had shared with me. And I'll refrain from saying anything else. Other than that, that's what I got tonight.
All right, Gary?
Slow week, huh?
Yes.
I mentioned the last time we met that I was looking to price out some swings for the Northridge Park. We've decided not to do that. The ones that are there are sufficiently strong enough, and once we did a little maintenance on them, they look as good as they're gonna look. And with the consideration of the whole park itself in the floodplain, it kind of presents a whole new perspective for the board, the park board, on how to proceed. And the swing set was a minor thing. And then, and you may be addressing this, but that we had our interviews with the, are you gonna?
Nope, I thought you would.
Okay, so we had our interviews with the candidates for the maintenance supervisor position that's been vacant for quite a while now. And we have come to a selection from what I understand. I think we're all comfortable with that. Is that something that we have to authorize Tiffany for putting out a,
We should
Offer?
have a motion to make an offer to him, yes.
we need a motion from this board to
Yeah.
make an offer to him
Pending background check.
pending a background check. So I can make that motion?
Yep.
I'll make that motion.
And I will second it because I was on the committee that did the interviews. So we have a motion from Gary. A second from me to make an offer to Mike Sell pending background check for a public works supervisor.
And then I would just like to say thank you to the whole panel that did the interviews and put the time in and made the decision. I thought it was a
It was good. We
good
had some
effort.
good candidates, yeah.
Yeah, we did, and it was a good effort
Very
by
well.
the attendees. And that's all I have.
Ruth?
All right, well, with upcoming persons filing for the vacant town board supervisory positions, I'd like to suggest or recommend that we come up with, as they're signing in, maybe a list of responsibilities, code of conduct and expectations, so that there's some clue as to what goes on here, other than, a lot of them don't come to the meetings and don't know what's going on. And just wondering if, I know some of the school boards in other parts of the state do that. If they've got candidates coming in, they give them at least that. So there's some expectation as to what's going on.
Mike, do you have anything like that?
I don't think so.
Ruth, you want to put something together?
No, Gary's much better at that than I am.
Not my idea. No, just kidding. It's interesting that you bring this up. I hadn't thought about that, but in applying for this position, having coming to have come to meetings, you can't force somebody to come to meetings. So I would hope that any candidate coming forward would reach out and get an understanding of what the position is. I don't think of it as our responsibility to tell them what they've got to prepare themselves for. And I think some discussion might be helpful. And Nathan being, I think, the youngest attendee or
Ever.
candidate ever, did you expect the board to reach out to you and tell you what you're up against?
I did most of the reaching out myself that I did do.
But you are an exception to a lot of rules as to getting involved in things that you want to be involved in. I just don't think it's a bad idea, and maybe with some effort, I can contact some persons to find out. Currently, we don't have, as a board, a code of conduct. We don't have written expectations as to, this is how many meetings you've missed, and then you're no longer, there are other places that do that. So maybe I'll see what we can come up with as far as responsibilities. I mean, it's
Go
all,
for it.
it's all good.
Yeah.
I know there is in statute a certain number of, like if a town supervisor is not present for a certain number of meetings, then the board does have the authority to declare that seat vacant. That's written in statute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nathan, that is true. That is true on a temporary basis. You can't permanently remove them. You can replace them after 90 days, but when they come back, then they displace the person you put in and they're back in their seat.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm a little biased about this because I think if somebody wants to be on this board, they better look and figure out what it is that we do. I'm uncomfortable with putting out some sort of a criteria to be a board member. There isn't any.
I'm not saying criteria. I'm just saying these are some expectations.
And how would we disseminate that? Just in an email to these individuals or?
When they come in to file, maybe, hey, okay, these are some of the expectations. They take it, they read it, they like it, they don't like it, they don't file.
Okay.
Thought provoking. We don't have to do it yet because they don't have to sign up till the end of July.
Right.
So,
Maybe if you want to put a list together, we'll look at your list and see what we think.
all right, I'll work with an attorney on that so that I put the right words in the right place.
Well, work with Matt, so it's free.
Yeah, work with, yeah.
Would you be interested in some input?
Yes, I would.
So at the school board, it's kind of a mixed bag. We invite people who have signed up for running for office into the superintendent's office. Either the superintendent or the school board chair will go over some basic duties because they aren't always clear and they do change from board to board. Every board has their differences, I guess. But as an invitation, it's not a bad thing. We've had a lot of folks that have applied that have no idea what a school board even does. They've never been to a meeting, like you said, and you can't force them to go to a meeting. But it's a good eye opener. It's a good refresher course. To be on a school board, you have to go through several phases of training. It's designated by state law that you have to go through that. So that is one step above what a township has to do. I don't believe that there's any required training. So that kind of empowers them to do the right thing afterwards. But getting them in, it's always great to have an invitation and have at least some talking points on what to expect when you come up to a board. I think you're gonna get a much better board member because of that.
Well, and the reason I bring it up is the last time there was an election, there were some persons that had their name on the ballot that have never been into the town hall. So they've never been to a board meeting. They really didn't know what to expect. So it was kind of like, have some expectations possibly, or something that, they had to come in to file, but that was the extent of it.
And that is true about school board members too, and they've turned out to be exceptionally good school board members, even with the lack of attendance at the meeting beforehand.
All right.
And thank you for your service, Jerry.
Yes, so noted, Jerry.
All right, I don't have
All
anything
right.
else, Logan. Tiffany?
No, I don't think I have anything else.
All right, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Motion from Logan, second by Nathan. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Guys. More than happy.
Well, then why did you oppose me so much? It's okay. It's really okay.
I reach seriously more than happy right now. It is, I am.
Did you say Mike?
Wrong way.
No.
Sell.